This is the second lesson in the algebra unit. Today we are solving two-step linear equations. So when I say two-step, that means there's two operations to do in order to solve them. Okay, so when solving an algebraic equation with more than one step, it's important that we use opposite operations and that when we're solving, we're going in the opposite order to BEDMAS. So we actually start with the addition and the subtraction first. Then we move on to division and multiplication next. Then we do any exponents, which we won't see today. And finally, we deal with brackets. We're going to be talking about brackets in the next lesson. We won't see those today. Okay, so first thing we're going to do is any adding and subtracting, then move on to multiplying, dividing. Okay, so let's solve this equation. And remember what it means to solve. It means to find the value of the variable. And for each of these equations, there's only going to be one solution that is correct. Okay, so we want to start with the side that has the variable on it. So our goal is to find the value of the variable. So our variable here is x. So we have 3 times x minus 5 equals 28. And we want to do opposite operations starting with adding and subtracting. So right now I see a subtraction of 5 on the left-hand side. So I'm going to do the opposite to that. So instead of subtracting by 5, I'm going to add 5 to both sides of the equation. What I do to one side, I have to do to the other. Sometimes teachers like to make like a little dotted line here to keep each side of the equal sign separate. You can do that if you like. Okay, so let's see what happens once I add the 5. On the left-hand side, the subtraction by 5 and the addition by 5 will cancel out. Negative 5 plus 5 is 0. So I'm just left with 3x. And on the right-hand side, I have 28 plus 5, which is 32. Okay. Oh, sorry, 33, not 32. I can't add today. There we go. Now I'm going to divide by 3. Because 3 multiplied with x is the operation that's happening. So I'm going to do the opposite of multiplying, which is dividing. And that will cancel out the 3 on the left-hand side. So I'll just be left with x. And 33 divided by 3 is 11. And that's my final answer. That's my solution. We've solved the equation. But it's easy to make mistakes when we're doing solving. So we're just going to verify our answer. That means check to see if we got the right answer. Check our work. Okay, so remember LHS stands for left-hand side, and RHS stands for right-hand side. I don't want to write that out every time, so I just use that acronym. And side. So when we're checking that our solution is correct, we're going to look at the left-hand side of the equation, 3x minus 5, and make sure it's equal to the right-hand side of the equation. And I'm going to substitute the value of x that I think it is. So doing our operations here, we think that x is 11. So let's just evaluate that and make sure it's equal to 28. So 33 times 11 is 33, or sorry, 3 times 11 is 33, and 33 minus 5 is 28, and we can see these two match each other, so we got the correct answer. Left-hand side is equal to the right-hand side. We've checked, it works, we got the correct solution. Okay, let's try 2 more. Next one here. So again, I'm going to make my little dotted line to keep everything on the right side of the equal signs. And we are solving for x. So first thing I'm going to do is do any adding or subtracting. So here I see that negative 2x is being added by 4. So we're going to subtract 4, do the opposite of adding 4. And that will cancel that 4 out. So on the left-hand side, I'll have 22. On the right-hand side, I'll have negative 2x, and the 4's will be gone. Now, this negative 2, don't be fooled by this. A lot of students think we should add 2, but the negative 2 is being multiplied with the x. So we want to do the opposite of multiplication, which is division of negative 2. So we're going to divide both sides by negative 2. On the left-hand side, I'll have negative 11. On the right-hand side, the negative 2's will cancel, and I'll just have simply x. And that's my solution. You can write it like this, negative 11 equals x, or you can flip it around if you want and write x equals negative 11. Either way is fine. Now let's check that this is the correct solution by checking the left-hand side, which is 26, and the right-hand side, which is negative 2x plus 4. Always important to know how to check your work, because it's easy to make mistakes in algebra because you're doing so many steps. Okay, so negative 2 times negative 11 is 22, and 22 plus 4 is 26. And we see that the left-hand side equals the right-hand side, so we've done the equation correctly, and our solution is, in fact, negative 11. Okay, last example. Oh, no, sorry, 2 more examples. If you want, you can pause the video here and try these last few on your own. First thing we do is any adding or subtracting. So we have a positive 3 here. So we want it to get rid of the 3, we're going to subtract 3. That will cancel it out. So we'll have negative 8 on the left-hand side, and then y over 4. Y divided by 4. Now we're going to remove the division by 4 by doing the opposite, which is multiplication. What I do to one side, I have to do to the other, and I do the opposite operation to cancel it out. So we end up with negative 32 equals y. And we're going to verify really quick. We've done a few of these now. I'm going to replace the y with what I think the solution is, negative 32. I do the division first, BEDMAS. So negative 32 divided by 4 is negative 8. And 3 plus negative 8 is negative 5. Yep, they match. We're good. We've verified our solution. We didn't make any mistakes. Okay, last one. This one is tricky. We have a positive 6 on the left-hand side, so I want to solve for m. I'm going to get rid of the 6 first. It's a positive 6, so we're going to get rid of it by subtracting 6, because 6 minus 6 would make 0. Now, when we get rid of that, we do have to keep that negative sign in front of the m over 7. The sign that is in front of the variable stays with it. So what we'll have left here is, and we can think of it like this if you want, you can bring it into the denominator, it might be easier. And 2 minus 6 is negative 4. Okay, so now the m is being divided by negative 7, and we want to do the opposite of that, which is multiplying by negative 7. What I do to one side, I have to do to the other. That negative 7's cancel out, and I end up with 28. Okay, so important, this negative sign here, I'm going to highlight it, belongs with the m over 7, so it stays attached. So in this next step here, I left it attached to the negative 7. You can put it wherever you want in the fraction. You can put it on the top or the bottom, but I put it with the number just because then it was easier to think about what to multiply by. Okay, let's verify our solution. On the left-hand side, we have 6 minus m over 7. We're going to replace that m with what we think it's equal to. And we get 2, and the right-hand side is 2. So the right-hand side and left-hand side match. We must have found the correct solution. So I'm just going to go through the key things again. Really important, when we're solving two-step equations, we use opposite operations, and we go in the order that is opposite to BEDMAS. So when we're solving, we start with adding and subtracting, then move to division and multiplication. Whereas when we're just evaluating, we go in the other order. Okay? And that's the end of the lesson.